let's talk about Taylor Swift's new album. I know this is a little bit outside. This is more of like Fantano's territory, and maybe there's going to be beef. Maybe Fantano's going to put on a headband like Michael Scott when he was Prison Mike. Maybe he's going to call me up and bully me and ask me if I'm trying to muscle in on his territory. I don't know. But we're going to talk about the new Taylor Swift song a little bit. Well, I mean, it's the whole album, Midnight. But specifically, this new song, Bejeweled, just came out. I'll tell you my thoughts on this particular song. But first, let me give you my thoughts on Taylor Swift as a whole. I'll spoil it. It's called Midnight because it is mid. It is mid. I'm sorry. I know the critics are into it, but it's kind of mid, in my opinion. And I will tell you why. And also, I want to thank Pokerist for sponsoring this video. If you want to help out the channel, install the game using the link in the description of this video. Pokerist is a free-to-play poker app for iOS and Android for people over the age of 18. And it is just a game. You can't win real money, and success at social gaming does not imply that you will win at real gambling. Pokerist is a really fun way to just switch out of your daily routine with cool 3D graphics, online tournaments, and more than 11 different poker games, so it gives you the full casino experience. Personally, I've always wanted to learn more about poker, but I didn't really know where to start, so I like that Pokerist is a really fun, easy way to learn Texas Hold'em. And also, you can play against real people, not bots, so you're really testing your skills. The first time that I won against a real person was an awesome feeling because I knew that I had actually leveled up. So if you want to check it out, download Pokerist using the link in the description or scan the QR code right here on screen and get 5,000 chips as a bonus. It's also available in the iOS App Store or Google Play. It's that easy. Just click the link in the description of this video or search for Pokerist in the stores, and I'll see you in the game. I've been a Swiftie for a very long time. I've been a Swiftie since way back in the day here with You Belong to Me. One of the sweetest G-rated songs of the 2000s. I mean, how could you not like this? The way that I found out about Taylor Swift is that I was a designer for Hollister and Abercrombie, and Abercrombie Kids did a shirt with one of the lyrics from this song. I don't know if it was like You Belong With Me or what exactly the line was, but I was like, oh, what song is that from? And I looked it up and it was this song. And that was when I discovered Taylor Swift. And I said, oh, this is nice. You know, obviously not for me as an adult man. I'm not going to go home and listen to this, but this is some nice G-rated stuff. Look at this. These nice suburban kids that the worst thing they're going to do is stay up too late talking on the phone with the boy across the street. And, you know, maybe they'll invite him to the county fair where they'll hold hands and, you know, share some cotton candy. You guys know me. As someone on Instagram said today, I have the musical taste simultaneously of a 60-year-old Christian dad and a 15-year-old girl. It's true. That's true. And this is when I first discovered Taylor Swift, and I said, I like this. But here's good Taylor waving goodbye to the boy who's about to get in the car with bad Taylor and kiss her. What are you doing? You guys are not married. Why are you kissing? You've hurt Taylor. My disappointment is immeasurable. My day is ruined. Awful. You've sinned. You're excommunicated. Now, just kept going, obviously. And I would say that the next big turning point to me was this song 22, which I remember came out in 2013. And I was like, okay, I see where Taylor's going with this. This is her song about being 22 and being an obnoxious 22-year-old. Dress up like hipsters and make fun of her exes. 22, 23, that's the age where girls kind of, I think, are at their most obnoxious. Because like they can go to bars and, you know, their parents can't tell them what to do and blah, blah, blah. So like they have the freedom to do what they want, but they're still kind of obnoxious. So 22 is the age, I think, where girls are at their most obnoxious. And Taylor Swift, no exception. That's right. Bangs. She's got them rattlesnake bangs, meaning stay away, I bite. That's right. Listen, if you get involved with a girl that has bangs, don't say I didn't try to warn you. You deserve whatever happens to you. No girl with bangs has ever been good news. But it's a great song. I can drink Smirnoff Ice legally now. Let's go party. Exactly. And this is, you know, there started to be a little bit of a fracturing of her fan base. There were the old school Swifties who loved her for being the sort of, you know, goody two-shoes country girl. And with this album, she'd obviously gone more pop. And so the country fans felt betrayed. They said, Taylor, you stabbed us in the back. And I said, Well, of course she did. She has bangs. You can't trust a girl with bangs. You should have known better. But incredible chorus, great album, great song nonetheless. I was a fan because you guys know that I like pop a lot. And this album was 10 out of 10 pop album. Can't fuck with it. Another one of the very best Taylor Swift songs of this era. We're never ever getting back together. Another just 10 out of 10 epic chorus, one of the best pop songs ever. You could see Taylor's maybe getting a little bit obnoxious. She wasn't the, sweetheart Taylor, from the old days, but that's okay. She grown now. She's allowed to be a little bit obnoxious, looking like the irritating manager of Anthropology that would tell you that you can't return something even though you have the receipt and the tags are still on it. She would be difficult with you just because she's having a bad day. Nonetheless, I was a fan. But I think she really, she just kept getting better. As great as Red was, obviously Shake It Off, a huge hit. Despite that, I would say this video, incredibly cringe. Pretty hard to look at. The rapping parts, very cringe. But incredible song, one of the defining pop songs of that era for sure. I would say for me personally, my irritating manager is a great description of her energy. I've always been a fan of Taylor Swift's music, but she just strikes me as such an irritating person. She just seems very self-centered and difficult and entitled and just all those things. And, when you know her backstory, for example, I talked about this in my video about industry plants, but like the way that her career kind of got off the ground is that her father invested $300,000 in her label, Big Machine Records, to help get the label off the ground. And in exchange, they would sign her. So, the fact that her father was rich enough to even have that kind of money, much less invest $300,000 to get his daughter's career off the table. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but kind of tells you a little bit about where she came from. And I think, being a gorgeous 6 foot tall blonde woman with a rich dad, how could you not think that the world revolves around you? And that's really the vibe I get from her. It just seems like she thinks the world revolves around her. And from her perspective, maybe it does. I mean, life's worked out pretty well for her. So maybe the world does. Maybe it's Taylor's world and we just all live there. In any case, I think that this album, Lover, from, I guess it's 2019, this is my personal favorite era of Taylor Swift, which I think is maybe a little bit of a controversial opinion. I feel like people don't love this album from what I understand, but I think it's great because I like pop. This is my favorite Taylor Swift song. One of the most just incredibly well-crafted pop songs of all time, regardless of how irritating Taylor Swift might be, regardless of the fact that this song is basically her white knighting gay people and sort of basically riding their coattails. And it's like, Taylor, like, can you just let gay people have their thing? Like, you don't have to be part of this. Like, you don't get credit for gay people struggling. In any case, I love this song. Like, one of the best pop songs ever. I love this vocal melody here. This song is just so fucking good. What incredible songwriting. Exactly. Cis straight white women love being gay. Yes, they sure do. They sure do. So if you sort of look at the trajectory of her career, what you see is basically she's always been sort of squeaky clean, super G-rated, mainstream, normie music that keeps getting more and more accessible and pop, which is great for me because, as you guys know, I've been listening to death metal and hardcore and shit for 30 years, and to be honest, sometimes I find it kind of exhausting. Sometimes I just want to listen to a nice, squeaky clean pop song for normal people and just cleanse my brain of all that death metal and hardcore that has been filling me with rage and anxiety for the past 3 decades. So that is what I expected from Taylor. However, she took a little bit of a turn there with her next album, Folklore, in 2020, where, I don't know, feels like she discovered Lana Del Rey and did this album of kind of lo-fi isn't the right word, but Folklore was a critically acclaimed album, but kind of not really for me. I'm not into it. She took sort of this sad girl direction. I'm not hearing any of the hooks or the sort of pop sensibility or the upbeat kind of vibe that made me like Taylor Swift's old stuff. So I was kind of not into this. Now, I wasn't sure, is this just sort of a momentary change of pace for her? Is she going back to pop Taylor after this? This is after she went independent as well. So it seemed like she kind of had taken a left turn with her career. But still, it's Taylor Swift. She's super talented. I was still holding out hope for the future of her music to sort of go back to being upbeat pop Taylor that I knew and loved. But unfortunately, as we can see from her new song, Bejeweled, doesn't seem to be the case.
Single most defining thing a lady could have.
I just skipped there's this whole skit at the beginning here.
No, I'm sorry, my dude.
Again, Taylor Swift, always the victim. This is like one of the things that I don't like about her is that she always presents herself as the victim. I believe that she thinks that she actually is this sort of oppressed martyr figure. All her songs present her as that, including this skit here with, the rich girls conspiring to oppress poor Taylor. I don't know what this song is about. And I don't even care, to be honest.
I'm gonna be hungover.
She did the backstory retcon again. That's what she does.
Best believe I'm still bejeweled when I walk in the room. I can still make the
I don't hate this, but I don't love it either.
Familiarity breeds contempt, so put me in the basement when I want the penthouse of your heart.
This just feels kind of uninspired to me. It feels like somebody heard Churches or whatever and made a sort of by the numbers pitchfork, electronic indie pop kind of record to me. It's not into it. It's mid in my book.
Boy, I think I've been too good of a girl. Too good of a girl.
It's not the worst thing I've ever heard,
Time to teach some lessons.
but I'm not feeling it.
Have you heard? I can reclaim the land.
I feel like she's trying to get a hit right now. Well, it's Taylor Swift, so anything she puts out is going to be huge. But, this doesn't sound like a hit to me in the same way as Shake It Off was, right? That's a fucking hit. To me, this is kind of, this feels like an album track.
Diamonds in my eyes.
I'm just not feeling it. It's obviously not the worst thing in the world, but I'd be hard pressed to say that it's great. However, as usual, whatever I think tends to be the opposite of what everyone else thinks. Metacritic gives it an 85, universal acclaim based on 23 critic reviews. The Independent gives it 100. The Guardian gives it 100. LA Times is a 90. NME is an 80. The lowest one here is Sputnik Music, which I actually agree with this one. For lack of a better word, it's dull. The subtext of this record is rich for those firmly invested in Swift's personal narratives, which I'm not, but perhaps for the first time outright irrelevant for everyone else. So that's kind of what it feels like to me. Feels to me like something that Swifties love, and Taylor Swift has now become a critically acclaimed artist that everyone loves, which I find kind of interesting. And I don't hate it, but for me, I would give it a 5 or a 6, maybe. Yeah, at this point, they don't even listen to the album and they say it's a masterpiece right away. I think that's the safe route. At this point, she's become one of these artists that if you have quote unquote good taste, you have to think everything she does is great. I don't think it's great. I think it's kind of bland. I think it's like maybe a little bit better than Folklore, but I think it's kind of dull. I'm disappointed, and I'm outraged, Taylor. I'm outraged. I'm disappointed. I'm shocked. I'm not mad, Taylor. I'm just disappointed. Those are my thoughts on Midnights by Taylor Swift. I'm hoping that she's got another record of pop bangers in her, but I'm not optimistic because what is she now, 32 or something? I mean, people don't generally put out the best pop of their career in their mid-30s. So I'm going to say Taylor Swift, I think she's done. I think the Taylor that we knew and loved is gone. She has been replaced with boring Churches, Lana Del Rey, Taylor, and I'm in mourning. I will wear black for the next week because I am in mourning. Those are my thoughts.